Hi everybody, this is Erica, and I wanted to talk about something that I experienced in the workforce that I've never talked about, but I feel like it's important because now that I'm older and the years have passed, I think speaking up and speaking out is really critical to preventing this from going on. In 2006, I took a job as an admin for a man in finance, and at the time I was very driven. I had moved out to the city. I was supporting myself, and I was trying to get established, career-wise. I had switched out from journalism, and just basically was really kind of driven and focused on getting myself established. And I took a job working for a man in finance, and he was much older than me. He was married and had 3 children, and the interview went well. He was very charming when he wanted to be. He could be, funny. He could be nice. He could be all those things. But slowly, I started to see a lot of cracks in his demeanor. He could be fine one moment and something would set him off and he would go into these rampages. And I think part of the reason he got away with it was he was partnering with a friend in the business, and he basically could get away with more than he would if he was working in a large corporate firm. So it was kind of this very small real estate kind of business, and he did the financing side of it. So very quickly I noticed that when he was angry, he would scold his employees like they were children, literally like they were children. So he had an AVP who had her master's in finance, and she was a very accomplished woman and seemed very confident in conversation. But one day he got mad at her about something, and in front of me, while he was on the phone with her, he started screaming at her and berating her. And it was like she was literally his child. And not that a child should be treated that way, but he talked to her like she was not a professional. And that was definitely a red flag right away about him. And I was a lot younger then. I was a lot more naive. I really had never experienced an abusive or toxic work environment to that degree. He started doing weird things with me. Like, I would be standing in the office and he would come up behind me and rub my shoulders. And I wouldn't say anything because I was actually so thrown off and just bewildered by the inappropriateness of the behavior that it almost kind of made me catatonic. I couldn't react, and it's a strange reaction, and I kind of surprised myself at how much I put up with, just all these red flags. But I was afraid. I mean, I was supporting myself now. I had my own apartment and I needed to be working. So I was trying to please him, but it was the closest thing I remember to being in an abusive relationship. And I've never been in an abusive, boyfriend-girlfriend relationship or anything like that, or abusive, anything to that degree. So it was just so foreign to me and weird that I really didn't know how to handle it. And I think there were times when he would get angry with me over something very trivial, like maybe I had made a mistake on a presentation or it wasn't the way he wanted it to be. And instead of just handling it professionally and saying, "Can you correct this and fix it?" he would actually come out onto the floor and yell at me, full-blown screaming in front of other people, all the other people working on the floor. And everyone was silent about it, and so I kind of was like, is this okay? Is this normal? I was still fairly new to the corporate environment, and to this day I'm surprised at how much I put up with it. But again, I was very young, naive, and I did. And there was one day that he was like, oh, let's go out to lunch together. You know, I just like to get to know my employees better and things like that. And it seemed relatively innocent, but it also kind of put me on edge. I didn't really want to be out alone with him anywhere. I didn't want to be alone with him at all. And so we went to lunch, and he was just kind of strange, not really talking about work or anything like that, just didn't seem interested. And after lunch he said, oh, let's go lingerie shopping. And I was like, no, you know, I'm an employee, I'm not going to be doing this. I said no. And he kind of seemed to take it all right, as far as he didn't like push it any further. And then that he would like to socialize with his employees, and that always included drinking. And so there was a hotel across from the office that I worked in, and he, you know, wanted us to all go out drinking after work. And I had maybe one drink, and I was just really never felt, you know, part of the group. I just didn't connect with them. It just seemed like kind of a strange, sort of incestuous kind of dynamic going on. It was very strange. And so I was, when we were going to go home, he offered to give me a ride home, and I forget what the exact circumstances were where I needed a ride home, because I did have a car at the time. But he kept pushing, and he kept saying, you know, I'll give you a ride home. And so I accepted it against my better judgment. And as we were kind of approaching my apartment, he says, oh, look, there's a hotel. And he said, you know, we could check in there. And I just said, no. I said, that is not going to be happening. I just need to get home. And he seemed to take it okay. He didn't blow up at me or anything like that, or push it any further. But the following Monday, when he got into work, he was really agitated with me, and he proceeded to yell at me about something I can't even remember. It was so long ago. This was like 2006. And he just said, you're fired, you know, I'm gonna let you go. He's like, I can't deal with you. And so I was fired, and the HR worker summed it up as saying, oh, you guys just don't click well. And it was just so much more than that. And I just didn't say anything to her about, you know, what had gone on. I had a feeling she was somewhat aware of the inappropriateness of his behavior. I think she resigned shortly after that, but she just kind of summed it up as that we didn't click, and it wasn't a good fit. And I never reported him. I talked with my sister about it, and she said to me things like, well, you know, when he would rub your shoulders in the office, did you say, no, I don't like that? And did you tell him to stop? And I said, no, I didn't, because I just really didn't know what to make of it. I just didn't know how to respond. It was so, like, it just was so abnormal that it kind of shocked me. And she says, well, then you don't have a case, because you have to actually verbally say, I do not like this, don't do it, for you to have a case. So that ended up being something that I never pursued. He is still out there. He's working in finance still, as last I checked. And I really, really hope he has not done this to another woman. The odds are he has, and I hope that eventually he'll encounter a woman who does confront him and does report it. But I just wanted to put that warning out there for any woman that is out there trying to get her foot established in maybe corporate America or a job, and she's encountering these kinds of experiences and thinking, you know, did I do something wrong to make him act this way? Or, you know, kind of blaming herself. And that's what I did, is I blamed myself and said, I must have done something wrong that would get him so angry, or I must have done something wrong that he felt it was okay to say those things to me or do those things. And it was my mistake, but his behavior was totally wrong. And I just want any woman watching this who may be going through it, or is, you know, has a young daughter that is trying to get established in the working world, to just know that that is never okay. That is never okay, and to not put up with it. I wish I had had the voice back then that I have now, but I was a lot younger back then and more naive about kind of what my rights were, and, you know, and I was scared, you know, when someone's holding a paycheck over you and you're supporting yourself and you have your own apartment and you have bills to pay and things like that, that position of power that person has over you can be strangely, you know, like a bond that like holds you. So I hope I didn't trigger anyone by this video, but I just wanted to talk about inappropriate workplace, you know, cultures, hostile work environments, and sexual harassment, and just let people know that it is not okay ever. And especially anyone, young woman who's going through this, to know that she doesn't have to put up with it. Everyone deserves to have a respectable, professional work environment to work in. Unfortunately, we don't have that. And it's at least when I was out there working in corporate America. So I hope this video helps someone maybe going through it or who has gone through it, to be aware of their rights and to know it's never okay. So that's my video. Have a great day. Bye.